I have now spent over 70 hours in both Mario Kart World and Kirby Air Riders, and finally, after fully 100% completing both games, I can now come to a proper conclusion as to which game is better. Like I said, I've fully seen every aspect there is to see, collecting every single Peach coin, every single panel, and every single P-switch in Mario Kart World's free roam, and also getting all 3-star gold trophies, while in Kirby Air Riders, completing every single challenge wall, and completing the main story and its extra ending a total of 4 times. I have truly beaten both games as much as possible, so it's time to finally see which game is the better racer. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking it's really hard to compare something like Mario Kart compared to the more battle-focused gameplay of Kirby Air Riders, but there is a lot that both games have in common, and I definitely think it's possible to compare them even though they're not the same exact kart racer per se. I will compare both games using 8 different categories: characters, vehicles, racing, battle, single player, online, music, and extras. Now it's time to pit Mario Kart World against Kirby Air Riders to see which game is the better racer. Mario Kart World has a total of 50 unique characters, from main characters to smaller enemy NPC style of characters. However, there are some mainstays missing from past Mario Kart games like Funky Kong, PD Piranha, or even Diddy Kong, but they probably will come in either free updates or DLC. There's even been some files showing voice actors for specific characters from another game that I won't mention here, so they probably will be added, but we gotta talk about what's in the game right now. With that said, I think Mario Kart World's roster is actually pretty impressive and gives more reason to choose other characters other than just, the mainstays, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser. There's lots of goofy NPC enemy style characters here, and all of them, at least all the main characters, have tons of unique costumes that completely change how they look. I'm actually pretty impressed with this roster, even though a lot of people don't like the enemy characters. I think it's fleshed out pretty well. Now, Kirby Air Riders has a total of 21 characters, also mixing both mainline and side characters that are more in the form of enemies, but a good chunk of the mainline characters are still missing, like Ribbon, Adeline, Elflin, Highness, or even the Mage Sisters. There's also some more that we're not even going to mention here, but Kirby sticks with also only having colored alts for most of the different versions of the characters. You can get costumes for them, but it's never more than just a little hat that goes on top of the character. Now, each character does have a specific unique ability and special tied to them, making each character distinctly unique and giving you a pure reason to choose them other than, hey, that character is cool. But it ties to the overall game's mechanic, and that's kind of how Kirby Air Riders works, with unique characters and unique machines. But with all of that said, I think the roster in Mario Kart World is simply just better. There's way more options, and you can pretty much be almost anyone, it seems like, in Mario Kart, from a basic Bowser underling to a mainline series staple. With so many amazing costumes for each character, I can't see why Mario Kart World wouldn't win this one in my book. Yes, it's cool to have individual abilities for your characters in Kirby Air Riders, but 50 characters in the base game so far of Mario Kart World is pretty hard to beat. So round 1 goes to Mario Kart World. Next up, we have vehicles. Mario Kart World has 40 karts, but lots of them are duplicate stats, and not too many of them really stand out to me. In fact, I've only really stuck with around 3 to 4 different karts, and that's kind of how it goes. I feel like in most Mario Kart games, you stick to what you know, but from my memory and time with the game, none of the karts are really that special and didn't have like a series first, like adding bikes to Mario Kart Wii. Now, unfortunately for Mario Kart, Kirby Air Ride is based on its machines, and Kirby Air Riders has 28 machines compared to Mario Kart World's 40 karts, but every single one of the 28 machines has a very unique way that it plays, where some vehicles have completely different control options and move in completely different ways with different mechanics. If you played one track with 5 different vehicles, it will feel like 5 completely different experiences. Where one machine flies in the air for longer and better, or one machine's extremely fast and can't fly or can't turn that hard. One machine may not even be able to drift, and one machine may just stop and go whenever you hit the button. But like I said, this one is the essence of Kirby Air Ride. This is what the whole series has been about. Even though the series is only 2 games, it's about the vehicles. It completely changes every single race and makes every single race and lap feel uniquely different than the last. So yeah, it's kind of hard for Mario Kart World to even compete with something like Kirby Air Riders machines. So Mario Kart might have more karts, but the machines in Kirby Air Riders are just unmatched. Round 2 goes to Kirby Air Riders. Now we move on to the actual racing. Mario Kart World is kind of a mixed bag, where its 3-lap tracks are very hard to beat, with some of the best track designs in the entire series and some of the best mechanics I've ever experienced in a racing game. Being able to wall ride and rail ride and do all these crazy tricks is truly spectacular, but unfortunately Nintendo is forcing us to play the intermission tracks, which are the complete opposite. They don't use the new mechanics like wall ride and rail ride really, and you're just kind of driving straight on highways. And also the overcrowded 24-player races sometimes makes it kind of hard to enjoy those mechanics. But Mario Kart World has a total of 30 3-lap tracks with tons of intermissions. However, the intermissions are put to good use in the mode Knockout Tour, where it's a giant race where slowly players get knocked off the further you're back. Each checkpoint continues to knock players off until there's a final four at the very end. This is a really fun mode, albeit only having 8 cups. If more cups are added, this mode will be a lot better. But another problem though is the items. They feel like they control races at times, where you're often punished for being in first place, where you'll constantly be bombarded by red shells or even blue shells, which will knock you out of that position, making it nearly impossible to climb back up with a 24-player lobby. With that said, if you're playing in private lobbies on the 3-lap tracks with only around 10 to 15 players, you will have some of the most fun you probably ever had in Mario Kart. Now, Kirby Air Riders has basic races, and that's pretty much it. There's no intermissions or straightaway driving. It's either air ride or top ride. Air ride is your normal racing, where top ride is a top-down, toy-like view of your races. There are a total of 27 courses, where there's 18 for air ride and 9 for top ride. But the tracks are all very pretty and very well designed. Unfortunately for me, half of them are classics which feel better than some of the new ones. I feel like the classics are more confined, tighter, and honestly better designed for something like Kirby Air Riders, where lots of the new tracks feel like there's little to no shortcuts and more wider sections. Maybe that's just me, but for the classic tracks, I feel like they just moved faster and they just had more to them compared to some of the newer ones. But I had a blast in both the Air Ride and the Top Ride modes. Racing in Air Ride feels as normal as it should. It's regular 2 to 3 lap tracks, and you can choose between 2 different types of modes. There's tons of vehicles to choose from to make these tracks feel more unique, and items do not control races. It really does feel like the best racer is going to win 90% of the time, outside of maybe a popped special at the right time from another player. With all of that said, I think personally I enjoyed the racing in Kirby Air Ride a little bit more than Mario Kart World, but I can see other people really choosing Mario Kart World's racing, especially if you like the intermission tracks. There is a lot to play in Mario Kart World. There's over 200 intermission tracks with 33 lap tracks, and I feel like with that large amount of content, a lot of people might start to get bored with some of the tracks and the racing in Kirby Air Ride. And like I said, not every single track in Kirby Air Riders hits the mark. At first, I was sitting at a tie in this category. If Mario Kart World does eventually offer the ability to play online with just 3-lap tracks, I think Mario Kart World would win by a landslide. But as I did technically have a little bit more fun with the racing mode in Kirby Air Riders, I still had to move it to Mario Kart World for this one. The new mechanics on the actual tracks are really just that good. So Mario Kart World squeezes by for round 3. Now, this one is going to be a quick discussion. Unfortunately, Mario Kart World really can't put up much of a fight here. It has one of the worst battle modes of all time. If this was Mario Kart 8, at least there'd be a lot more to talk about here, but even then, I still don't think it would win. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did a lot for the battle system, and they just went completely back in time with Mario Kart World, only having 2 main modes of coin collection and balloon battle, and that's about it. With a game with a giant open world map, I was very surprised they didn't take that in the Knockout Tour concept and came up with something like a balloon battle royale or something. But nope, the battle maps aren't even unique or original, they're just roped off existing areas on the map, and there's literally no effort given to any of this mode whatsoever. Where Kirby Air Riders just completely blasted out of the park with one of its well-known modes of City Trial. City Trial is the battle mode, and this game really is a battle racer in the first place. City Trial is a fun mode that changes every single time you play it. There's tons of chaos and tons of little in-game events that happen as you're playing, and tons of different options for stadium events that ends the City Trial mode. Now, not every single stadium event hits. Some of them just feel stupid, where someone who obviously has the best flying machine and best stats is going to blast everybody else out of the water in that stadium event, but thankfully, for the most part, you get to choose which one you play. But overall, I feel like I'd much rather play City Trial a million times over before even jumping into another match of Mario Kart World worlds battle, and I only played around 5 of them, and I had to absolutely stop. It was just that bad. So Kirby Air Riders wins round 4 with flying colors, and who would have expected otherwise, honestly. Next up, we have the single player. Mario Kart World does not have any sort of story or really anything unique with its giant open world. It's just filled with collectible coins, panels, and P-switch missions that you can collect. And I will say, to turn your brain off and just play through these P-switch missions and collect these Peach coins was actually a lot of fun. I spent countless hours, over 6 hours, just playing around in this giant free roam mode, going through these P-switch missions, and I actually had a blast. In fact, I had more fun in certain P-switch mission moments than playing the story mode to Kirby Air Riders. But unfortunately, it sucks that you don't have any real way of collecting these or tracking them down. You're just kind of doing them and wondering how many's on this map. Also, there's not a lot of variety in the P-switch missions. Most of them are just collect the coins or go through the rings in order to reach the goal. And if you're going to want to find all of them, trust me, you're going to need some type of third-party app or website in order to track them down, because I absolutely had to when at the very end I found out that I was missing like 10 of each, and there is no way I was going throughout this entire map trying to hunt them down. Now, Kirby Air Riders actually has a story mode akin to that of Smash Ultimate's World of Light, but honestly, if you guys knew how I felt about World of Light, which I've talked about many times, I was not a big fan. And same thing with Kirby Air Riders. At first, I was really not a big fan of this mode. It felt like just lots of pointless basic missions that repeated over and over and over again from world to world. And just to get through this entire long story mode took almost 3 hours, especially if you're going for the true ending. The game doesn't even really start picking up until around World 3 or 4, where your machine is powerful enough to move at a decent speed and have decent power. Although, it has an actual story with cutscenes that look absolutely stunning and actual boss battles in a racing game, something that Mario Kart would do back on the DS and hasn't done since. Even the final boss and New Game Plus secret ending was truly spectacular to end the mode. I also like that there's multiple different difficulties and the fact that it has tons of replayability, as it tracks every single mission in every single world that you've done already, so you can go through and try to complete every single mission by replaying the story mode over and over again if you want, and it also tracks which characters that you completed the story mode with. So if you're crazy enough, you will go through the entire story playing with every single character. And what makes it so much more manageable than it sounds is that you could technically go through this game in a completely different way almost every single time. There's so many branching routes and so many different missions that you probably will not complete until playing through the mode at least around 10 times in total. At the end of the day, as I wasn't crazy for the actual gameplay for most of Kirby's road trip game mode, I will say the effort given with the amazing pre-rendered cutscenes and the fun boss battles and spectacular ending definitely made the journey worthwhile. And just having an actual dedicated single player adventure was more than enough to draw my attention and to give my vote to Kirby Air Riders once again for round 5. Next up, we have online, and once again I think it's pretty obvious who's going to come out on top with this one. Mario Kart World really just doesn't stand a chance because its online is incredibly bare bones. It only has races that force intermissions, battle, and knockout tour. There's no ranked mode or anything else of that matter to bring you back to keep playing online. And even your global race number isn't really that much of an incentive to see it grow this time around. You gotta kind of think to your head, oh, high 8,000s and low 9,000s is pretty good, which is just, it feels weird. Sometimes joining a match can also take forever, as you have to sit and wait for the match to finish before you for some reason, making it seem like there's not that many lobbies open for you to join. And not to mention, you can't even play through the P-switch missions on the free roam that it puts you in as you wait. You just gotta drive around maybe looking for the occasional Peach coin or something. Lobbies do seem to fill up pretty good now though. There seemed to be an issue there at first, but I haven't really had an issue since then for the last couple of months I've played. And goodness gracious, hit register seems to be really bad in this game. I can't tell you how many times I hit somebody clear as day with an item that's in front of me and they don't have a single thing that they're holding to protect themselves, and it'll show the wipeout animation for them to just continue be driving at the same speed. I don't understand it. It's always been a thing with past online Mario Kart games, but I feel like it's at its almost worst here. Maybe it's just because there's double the amount of players and there's double the amount of opportunities for this to happen, but it seems like my items are sometimes absolutely pointless. Meanwhile, Kirby Air Riders has an absolutely phenomenal online system. It knocks it out the park, and even in some ways is better than Splatoon 3's massive multiplayer focused online system that it has. Yeah, it tells you something right there. You can play Air Ride, Top Ride, City Trial, all of them online, each with their own specific rule sets and stuff. You can set up your own specific game in the paddock, where you and other racers can jump off your vehicles and run around together, talk to each other, communicate, and set up extremely specific rules for the exact game that you and your friends want to play. It does not take too long to find a lobby, and it also fills up pretty much every single time, at least for me. I noticed some people were having some issues online, but that seems to be fixed now, but I've never had an issue with getting a lobby to fill all the way. Kirby Air Riders does everything absolutely perfect with its online, and I really don't have much else to say in this category. Round 6 once again goes to Kirby Air Riders. Finally, here's one that I think even Mario Kart World couldn't possibly lose in any situation. Mario Kart World's soundtrack is absolutely stellar. There are so many remixes from almost every past Mario Kart game and every past Mario game in general throughout the entire series. There's remixes from 64, New Super Mario Bros. I wish the RPGs were there, but besides those, it's here. And most of the songs that you've heard in those past games are here and completely remixed. I know over 90% of the soundtrack is remixes, but even the new ones like the brand new Rainbow Road is absolutely stellar. This is one of the best Nintendo soundtracks of all time. It's like a celebration of not just the Mario Kart series, but the entire Mario series as a whole. However, this is not to poop on Kirby Air Riders soundtrack. It's good, and there's some really good themes that I'm still humming to this day, but honestly, I felt like Sakurai could have gone a lot further. There's not a lot of classic Kirby songs brought back, and it feels like maybe one or maybe two for most of the classic games and not too many from the modern series, which is something that Sakurai has been known to do. And I know this isn't Smash Brothers or a Kirby Smash game where Sakurai is supposed to pull from all these past games, but it is strange that there was only like a couple pulled from. Like, we could have gotten at least 4 or 5 songs from each of the past Kirby games, and at least some of them remixed. None of the past games that are brought back are remixed in any sort of way, which was also very strange. There should have just been more unlockable CDs like he did in Smash that we could collect, but it seems like he didn't really care too much about the soundtrack, and for the new songs, they're good. You know, they're good. They're good. They're not anything super special in my opinion. They're just pretty good. I don't think any of them are bad, but also none of them hold a candle to how amazing every single song seems like it is in Mario Kart World. So of course, with round 7, the music category goes to Mario Kart World. And for the final category, I have extras. This is really just a category for collectibles, replayability, and just quality of life things that's in the game. And yeah, Mario Kart's about to get jumped. There's not too much to keep you coming back in Mario Kart World. The collectibles don't really track in free roam. It shows you what you have collected now thanks to an update after the game released, but it doesn't show you what you're missing. You can go for 3-star gold trophies in Grand Prix, but besides that, that's about it. There are tons of milestone stickers to unlock, and there are pages and pages and pages of these stickers, but you can only place one on your cart in a tiny little spot that you have to squint to even see. There's no cart customization and no extra collectibles, at least at this time, so yeah, once you start playing Mario Kart World, odds are when you're done, you're going to be done for a while. Where with Kirby Air Riders, it blows Mario Kart World out of the water. It has 5 giant challenge walls, one for each mode, filled with 150 missions for each one, where every single mission you complete actually gives you stuff that you'll care about. You can unlock new parts for your machines, which you can fully customize and even buy other people's customizations online with your in-game currency. There's tons of extra things you can do just for the heck of it, like build your own garage where you can place your favorite vehicles. There's gummies you can collect because why not? And you can also decorate your own driver driver's license any way you want by using those rewards from the challenge walls. Kirby Air Riders is packed full of things that you can do, especially if you're somebody that likes to 100 complete a game by buying everything you possibly can in the stores, completely filling out all your checklist items, and the fact that all 3 modes actually have a ranked version of that mode that you can play online and try to actually increase your rank gives you reasons to keep coming back to Kirby Air Riders. Without a doubt, Kirby Air Riders wins the final round, round 8 of this competition. And with that, Kirby Air Riders beats Mario Kart World as the best racing game of the year, 5-3. This one still hurts because at its core, Mario Kart World is one of the most mechanically sound racing games I have ever played. It has some of the best wall riding, rail riding trick mechanics I've ever seen and could be something absolutely special, but held back by some of its lazy design choices, lack of content, and just horrible intermission tracks, where Kirby Air Riders hits on almost all cylinders. Sakurai really shows his pure passion for this project by adding so many customizable options, replayability, collectibles, rewards, and online functions. It's just too much to even count. Sakurai truly went above and beyond on a sequel to Kirby Air Ride and sent the series off on an extremely high note. And when it comes to my own personal bias and opinion on my experience with both of these games, like I said, spending well over 70 hours in both, I have to say Kirby Air Riders was without a doubt more fun for me. It felt less chaotic and more about skill. There was lots of reasons to go back and try to 100% the game. There was just so much stuff to do and reason to play the game for as much as I had. I might have had more time in Mario Kart World, but honestly I think over half of my time in that game was dedicated to just simply online videos that I made. If it wasn't for those videos and my job, I probably wouldn't have been playing for more than 50 hours. But please let me know down below, if you played both of these games, what is your opinion? Did you like Kirby Air Riders more, or did you like Mario Kart World more? And why? Is it more simple for you instead of diving into each category, or is it more in-depth? Just let me know down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.